Keep it all moving. I'm not one of those. So we used to have this guy who would come down and try and motivate us, and after 2 hours, he would slink out. We'd all be sitting there thinking, great, we won, we're still demotivated. Right? But I'm not one of those. This is beyond guru motivational talk. This is about guru action. How you can actually start to make the changes. Even some of you on the way home tonight. I don't know how, but some curious things start to happen. They do, really. I get calls and emails regularly from people who say, I wouldn't have believed you, but this happened to me today. I'm not particularly religious or spiritual, but you just find that even Einstein said when you start to go down the road, there is a power. There is a power. Something happens. And it never ever doesn't happen, it always does. So there we are, we've got a big bubbly question mark. And on top of that is balanced a big green Walt Disney type of leaf. Big green leaf. And flying around the leaf is a great big bumblebee. And as you watch, the bumblebee starts spitting out more and more distilled water. And the distilled water goes down into terracotta pot with 10 coins in it. 10 coins in it. And walking around the edge of the pot is a grizzly bear. And the grizzly bear is wearing dancing shoes. And he's carrying this piece of wood, which is for one of you. Let's do the whole story again, and I'll tell you what it means. Who's over here? What's he got? Who's over there? Across the mouth? What does Thomas Edison do? What did it go through, and what happened? Hey! What happens? Okay. I do that too well. Sorry, I won't do it anymore. Alright. Goes to cake, he gives it to somebody, right? So I give it the 10. Right? And what does he do? He's happy, isn't he? Smiling and laughing. What's running around his feet? E-R-O, yeah, E-R-O. Got the E-R-O. Right? Who's sitting next to him? What's he got? Oh, yeah, got a #1 badge on. Tell me what he's doing. That's right. Crying, and what happens eventually? He's crying, so he's crying his eyes out. Where does it go? The pot, what happens? What's on top of the question mark? Green leaf, yeah. What's flying around it? What's it start doing? Spitting out distilled water. Where does it go?
Grizzly bear.
The grizzly bear walking around it, what's he got? Dancing shoes on. What's it carrying? That's right. Which you're going to break. So let me tell you what this story is all about. The first thing you've got to do, if you've got developing the right attitude, you want to have a successful business, you've got to start working out for yourself what your goals are. I don't know what they are. Unless you tell life what it is you want, how are you going to get there? Unless you tell life what it is you want, every road will lead you there. Try to like me or you going up to Gatwick Airport. We arrive there with our wife and kids and everything, and then we get to the front of the BAQ, and the lady says, yes, can I help you? And you say, yeah, I'd like a ticket, please. What's you going to say? What's you going to say? I'd like a ticket, please. I'd like a ticket. No, I'm buying a ticket from you. You know, would you hurry up? I haven't got much time. No, please hurry up. My wife and kids are waiting. Please sell me a ticket to somewhere. That nice place where I've got plenty of money and I'm very happy. Why can't he tell me a ticket? My goals are very vague, aren't they? You can't sell anybody a ticket if their goal for life is very vague. All life is saying to you is, what do you want? That's the big differentiator between you and Richard Branson. He knew exactly what it was he wanted. What do you exactly, what is it that you want? The way you work this out, a few years ago, a man called Joe Carbo wrote a letter. You can get it, a book. You can get it free now on the internet. It was called The Lazy Man's Way to Riches. It's what started me on this quest 30, 40 years ago. I bought a copy of this book, and you can still get it. Joe Carbo is dead now, but there's a new edition of the book. But I wouldn't bother with that. Get the old original edition. As I say, it's a free ebook online. And in there, he shows you,
Was it C-A-R-B?
Joe, his name is Carbo, Joe Carbo, Joekarbo. And this is where I started my life, and this is where I learned to set goals properly so they actually work. What he says in the book, he says, it doesn't matter whether you believe this or not, just do what I tell you to do. So I did, and it worked. First thing he says, get a piece of paper, get somewhere really private, and write down what it is you want. Remember, you're not trying to please your mum and dad, or your auntie, or your gran. You're saying what you want. What do you want? I don't know, you don't have to tell me tonight. But you've got to write it down. Exactly what is it you want your life to be? And write it in detail. In absolute detail. If it's a new Jaguar F-type car, write that down. So, what colour is it? Has it got leather seats? Has it got a top coupe? Do you want a flat somewhere? Do you want a house somewhere? I don't know what it is you want. Do you want a new girlfriend, boyfriend? I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what you want. You haven't got to tell me. You haven't got to tell me. It's your goal list. I'm serious now. This is real stuff. Writing it down on a piece of paper. This all began just after the Second World War, when a group of business people were taken away in the States to a mountain hideaway, where they were taught this technique, and it was kept secret for years and years and years. And this whole business of how you set goals properly so they work. And the first step is write it down. Then you get some sort of substance to it. Write it in detail. Exactly what it is you want. Don't think anybody's going to laugh at you, because they're not. You don't have to show it to anybody else. Write a date for its completion. Don't say I want to be a millionaire tomorrow, because that's just stupid. Right? Set a goal for actually achieving these goals. Be reasonable with your life. You've got to work to make these things happen. But not, as I said earlier, not a lot of work, just a bit more. Set a date for its achievement. Write it as if it's already happened. Write down, it is January the 1st, 2020, and I've just moved into my new flat in Bermondsey. It's got beautiful views of the river, and a garage, 3 bedrooms. I don't know what it is, I'm just making this up. It's your goal. I wrote down on my list 40 odd years ago I was going to learn to fly, or I did. I'd have a Bentley, I've got one. I'd have a flat in the West End of London and a flat in New York, I've got both. I've got a house in Bromley. I'm not saying that these are the things that I wanted. You can have your things. Have your own things. Don't think you've got to copy my stuff. I like my Bentley. It's really good when you get up to traffic lights and boy racers come next to you. And then they're revving up next to you and say, you watch this, Sonny. This is going to go somewhere now. And there's an old man, hang in mind, it was really frightening, I couldn't tell you. The car takes off and the steering goes very light. You think, I better be able to stop this. Right? But then you're going. And then I learned to fly, which I didn't think I'd ever do. Most wonderful. Sometimes when I go flying now, I've taken off out of Biggin Hill Airport in southeast London, and I think to myself, this is madness. I'm not a pilot. I'm a guy with 1 O-level who was useless, who went to work in a factory. What am I doing? Well, I got flights before Concorde died, 3 times on Concorde. What am I doing getting on Concorde? I'm an idiot. But I just quash those thoughts and just carry on doing it. And other people take you for the value that you place on you. If you walk around saying that I'm only a ... that's all you are. Life is very, very fair. And if you say that's all I want to be, say fine. But don't complain when somebody else goes past you. You can have it as well. You can have whatever you want. You haven't got to copy any of my dreams when I was having these sort of things. Okay? Now, why do you think we've got Thomas Edison here? Oh, by the way, one last thing to add to that goal is don't show it to anybody in your family who will laugh. Unless you want an excuse for not doing it. Because your family are going to be so pissed off when you start to get the life you want. They get really upset, families do. Especially your parents who've got you in a nice little box at home. This is what you do, this is what you do, this is where you fit. And then I have to come forward with what my mum and dad want. You don't have to. You have your life. Start to do the things you want to do. Have the relationships you want. The poet John Betjeman, when he was 90 years old, if you read any of John Betjeman's poems, he was really a great old guy. And he was asked in an interview just before he died, did he have any regrets? He said, yes, I didn't have enough sex. Well, goodness me, if that's what a dream you've got, you go and get it. It's better put you out there. You know? You just go on talking about it. That's the mistake people make. Don't talk about it. If you get found out, say, yeah, it was me. That's what brought Clinton down. He lied about it. And everybody knew he'd done it. Because they reckon that 40% of American women have had affairs. So everybody knows, you just don't talk about it. But if you get found out, don't lie. But you haven't got to have that as one of your objectives. You don't want it. What do you want? That's what goes on your list. Don't tell anybody you think will laugh. Keep it in your purse. Now every day what I want you to do, when you get up, I want you to get that piece of paper out, get up 10 minutes early and start reading through all your goals. Read through and remind your brain what your ultimate objective is. Get a picture of this thing, visualize it in your head. I'm going to talk to you about visualization and demonstrate it to you in just a little while. You'll be absolutely fascinated. Right? So visualize it, get a little picture of it in your head, then move on to the next goal. How many goals you have? I don't know. It's your life. 1, 20, it's up to you. And try and do it before you go to sleep at night as well. Just reinforce, this is my goal, this is where I'm going. And you can change it whenever you want to. Just as long as every day you don't get up and not know where you're trying to get to. Right. Well, we've got Thomas Edison over here.
It took him like 100 pounds.
It took him 1,400 goes to make an electric light bulb. And when a very negative journalist, I worked on Fleet Street for 22 years, when a very negative journalist said to him, aren't you disheartened, Mr. Edison? He said, no, I've just learned 1,400 ways not to make a light bulb. That's how he looked at his failure. Persistence is one of the hallmarks of entrepreneurs. They keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. When I was a teenager living in southeast London, there was a very pretty girl in our group. She never had a boyfriend. And all we boys were really lusting after her because she was very, very pretty. Suddenly one of my friends was going out with her. We all said to him, how did you do it? He said, I asked her. And I kept on asking her and she said, oh, all right, fine. And that's often all it takes. We were all thinking, oh, that'll never work. He just went and asked her. And he kept on asking her. So I said, didn't you snap your face? Oh, yeah. He said, but that's just something else I learned before I decided I wanted to settle down. I used to ask every girl I met to sleep with me. I got a lot of slack faces, but I got a lot more girls to sleep with me than you did. And he was quite right. Because he asked, and he was prepared to take the pain coming back the other way. This is very serious stuff. You've got to be prepared to go for what it is you want. And you've got to persist. How many of you got children, babies? This is where you see, well, can you remember when they learned to walk? Remember your son or daughter was learning to walk, and they were like this, crawling around the floor, and they saw their bigger brothers and sisters start to walk, and mum and dad. They said to themselves, hey, hello, that looks useful, walking. I'll try walking. And you and your husband and your partner, you see, you're sitting there, and you say, standing up, blah, blah. You ever done that? Look, he's not holding on. You've got the bunny or the teddy. Right? Right, so you can hold him back. I don't think they're just kids, right? And they take a step, don't they? Well, what happens? They fall down. How many times did your son and daughter fall down before they gave up? How long did you see? He didn't. See, he didn't say, no, come on, stop walking. You're no good at it. It's a lost cause. He didn't say that, did he? The baby didn't say, oh, God. What do they do? They fall down, and they haven't got far to fall anyway, and they persist with it. And this is a sign of good entrepreneurs. They try one way, it didn't work, try another way, until they get what they want. In the end, you see, when you say to a child, you can't have an ice cream on a very hot day, what do? No, I want an ice cream. You can't have an ice cream. Oh, I want an ice cream. No, you can't have an ice cream. Just have one, it'll ruin your life. Oh, I want an ice cream. So what do? Give them ice cream just to shut them up. You see kids being pushed around Tesco's and Sainsbury's, always got an ice cream, always got something in their mouth. Shut up. Glass in the corner. Yeah. Be quiet. But they persist until they get what they want. Why do adults give up? This is a serious. Why do you give up? You watch it, there's a model you have in your babies. And yet yourself is, oh, I'm allowed to give up. Do you know what it is? It's laziness. That's all. It's laziness. You've got to keep on trying. Roughly, to get into any particular new account, you've got to try 6 times and you wear them down. Most people give up after the second go. You've got to get through those pieces of wood and into the goal. Persist like Thomas Edison did, because that's the secret of success. You give a puzzle to an entrepreneur, and they, even if it's an impossible one of those wooden block puzzles you've got to make into a cube or something like that, they will keep on trying, even if it's well-nigh impossible to do. You have to rip it out of their hands, because they're so determined to do it, to make it work. That's what you got for Thomas Edison. Now, what do you think this model, why do you think we've got everybody cheering when the ball goes into the goal?
Celebration.
You've got to celebrate. Whether you succeed or fail, you've got to do something. And you shouldn't have seen, when somebody comes back from going to see a customer, if you shared what you're doing with them, and they say, how did it go? And they say, oh, actually I didn't get it today. They go, oh, didn't you? Oh, what a shame. Secretly, they're so glad. See, I knew that would fail. I come from a family where everybody knows what's going to happen. My dear old mum, who died 4 years ago, she always knew. I told her I'd had a minor setback at work, she said, I'll get it. So one day, I very cruelly, and she was in the hale and hearty, I bought a lottery ticket for her to fill in, one of those things fill in. So what's that for? I said, I'm giving you this one, I'd like you to fill it in for me. I said, why? I said, because you're the only person in Beckenham who knows what's going to happen. People know, don't they? They love you to tell, they love your stories of failure. What about if you were to turn around with somebody you're on side with, and they said, I failed? Yeah, try again. Imagine telling Richard Branson, somebody else who's failed. I mean, you never hear about the businesses he's had that have failed. He's got about 11 good businesses, and he's had about 40 that have failed. He just keeps on trying, and if that doesn't work, we'll try something else. You've got to do the same. All these people, they keep on trying to, if you read his book about his success, you know what the title is? Screw it, let's do it. Screw it, let's do it. We need to buy now. You can just say, yeah, that's a good idea, yeah. Right? He went and bought, so I bought 3 planes that weren't being used. Set one of them up. Look at him today, Virgin Atlantic. Completely different experience. So you've got to be that same sort of person. Right? Now, why do you think we've got somebody coming out of the crowd with a cake? Why have we got a model with a cake?
Appealing. Looking how she's appealing.
Well, so just imagine, I had a table here, this was like a British Bake-Off thing on the telly, right? And I got some butter, and I got some flour, and I got some sugar, and I got some eggs, and little right sort of amounts, and I beat them all up together, put them in a cake tin, put them in the oven, left it there for 40 minutes. What would it be like when I opened the door? Would I have a sort of a plain cake in that? Wouldn't I? Pretty much assured that, that physics will take place and the whole thing will swell up and get a cake. Exactly the same ingredients tomorrow, exactly the same amount, exactly the same oven, exactly the same temperature. Mix it all at the same time, put it in the oven, open it after 40 minutes. Will I have another cake in there? Wouldn't I? Yes. Would it look quite similar to today's cake? Yeah. If I did the same every day, would the cake look the same?
Slightly different.
Slightly different.
Slightly different, but basically the same. Would it suddenly have cherries in it?
No.
Why not?
Unless you put it.
And yet some people run their lives like this, don't they? They put the same mixture into their life every day and want a different result. First sign of madness is doing the same thing every day and expecting it to turn out differently. You've got to put, if you want the cherries to be in your cake, you've got to do something different. Otherwise nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. That's why you've got a cake. You're going to get the same. You know, my daughter, when she was, before she got married herself, was always complaining about the boys and men she met. And everyone was troubled, and I used to listen to her on the telephone. It was always a tragic thing. She and her friends telling each other about boys they'd been out with who dumped them and then got back together again. And well, you knew what he was like before you did. When I got pissed, you forgot your birthday. Yes, you forgot my birthday. Well, I knew that when I... You keep on going out with the same people, you're going to get the same result. You've got to change. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. It's up to you to make the change. Nobody else can stand in front of the wickets of the cricket at the Oval and hold that cricket back for you. You've got to take a shot.
You learn from your failures.
You learn from your failures, but you've got to act on them. All right? So you model yourself on people who are successful. Now, if you want to be like a Richard Branson or an Alan Sugar or a Peter Jones, those sort of people, how do they behave? Model yourself on them. Walk like them, talk like them, think like them. People take you for the value that you place on you. When I was at Reuters, I was once called in by my boss, and he said, we're making you the international marketing manager for Eurobond products. I said, but Alistair, I don't know anything about the Eurobond market. He said, I know you don't, but everybody thinks you do. I had to make a speech 3 days later in London. I didn't know a thing about the Eurobond market, so I bought a copy of a magazine called Eurotrader, found an article in there, ripped it out, stapled it together, and read that out to the audience. Somebody else did it, total plagiarism. I couldn't have anything else to do. Nobody said anything. Just read the article. Just, where anything's contentious, just put my name in there. But people accept what you say. You say, yes, absolutely right. Next question. When my wife was working in National Health Hospital, she would come out and tell me of surgeons who were really brilliant surgeons who weren't qualified. They found out months after they had started working at the Royal Northern Hospital or the Middlesex or somewhere else. But people accept them because they had that sort of attitude. Same as coming in through the door then. People accept you for the value that you place on you. And if you